Euromaxx highlights. And here's your host, Karin Helmstedt.
Greetings from Brandenburg Gate here in Berlin. For real this time, a symbolic location on a special anniversary weekend. And we'll waste no more time and tell you exactly why that is. On the big screen, a short film celebrates 25 years of Germany's reunification. On the catwalk, traditional fashion labels are having a comeback. And on the display, smartphone pics of architecture are popular on Instagram. 25 years of German reunification. It's an occasion important enough that the German government thought it could use just a little bit of emphasizing. And so they commissioned a special one-minute film to mark that anniversary. Well, it was made by 26-year-old Nico Kreis, who was just a baby when the wall actually came down. And now he's an up-and-coming filmmaker and represents an entire generation born around the time of German reunification.
25 Jahre sind vergangen, seitdem ich das Licht der Welt erblickte. Ich bin ein lang ersehnter Traum, ein Kind der Freiheit.
This is German Unity speaking. The German government commissioned this cinema ad to mark 25 years of German unity. The director isn't much older than German unity itself.
Ich kenne keine Grenze. Bin offen, bin vielfältig.
For me and my generation, this really is an event out of the past. It still affects us today because we see the monuments of a divided Germany. I don't know if that'll be the case in 70 or 100 years, but you still see them today. A divided Germany is also slowly becoming a memory, and people are getting used to that.
It's a declaration of love for this country and, above all, a declaration of love for freedom. That's the essence of this commercial. Wonderful, emotional, and very evocative. So I'm thrilled with it.
Nico Hoffmann has made dozens of films and videos about German history. Making the short commercial was a new challenge. He hired his former student, Nico Kreis, to direct it.
It has to do with his approach and how this generation sees this special day. It has to do with his age. How old are you?
26.
Look, I'm 55. That's a 30-year gap. I remember things differently than Nico. That's why I found it important to work with him on this project.
Kreis spent an entire week shooting at different locations around Germany. The one-minute video shows Germany's diversity, its residents, and its landscapes. Kreis decided only to show the present and not the divided nation.
I can't link it to personal experiences. My first trip to Berlin was when I was 14. The city was very different in those days. It's no longer the same place it was.
Berlin's Brandenburg Gate symbolized first Germany's division and then Germany's unity. The country has grown back into one entity since the fall of the wall in 1989. People from the East and the West have had to find a joint national identity and come to terms with their own past.
When you concern yourself with German reunification, as I did for this video, you automatically start to wonder how much national pride is justifiable. How proud of my country am I allowed to be?
Fans from all over Germany celebrated national soccer victories together, like the 2014 World Cup. People from East and West wave German flags, and their younger ones, like Nico Kreis, only know a divided Germany from history books.
It's interesting how each generation remembers it. It isn't over, and that's the way it should be. What's important is how we handle it, and how openly Nico's generation is showing interest in the way things were 30 years ago. Many of them have no human or emotional concept of what happened back then.
And if I may add, it's not just about reunifying East and West. It's about a unity between North and South and different people. This ad encourages people to remember. That's why German unity will never be perfected or completed, because it takes place over and over again.
Ihr steht zu mir, lebt mit mir Tag für Tag. Für viele von euch bin ich selbstverständlich und doch bleibe ich einmalig. Ich bin ein Geschenk. Ein Geschenk an jeden von euch.
Indeed. Well, the Prêt-à-Porter fashion shows in Paris, they are a platform for new young talent, but also for older, nearly forgotten labels that are gunning for a comeback. This year, for instance, Courrèges, Schiaparelli or Vionnet. Now, once dubbed the architect among dressmakers, Madeleine Vionnet was forced to close her house back in 1939. But now, forces have colluded to bring it back into the spotlight.
Former oil tycoon Goga Ashkenazi has been the proud owner of French fashion label Vionnet for 4 years now. For the 34-year-old multi-millionaire from Kazakhstan, buying the haute couture label was the fulfillment of a lifelong dream.
I never wanted to do it with my own brand. I always wanted to revive and be connected to something that has more meaning than just my lifetime. I looked at other brands. I didn't imagine that Vionnet would be for sale. When I heard that they were interested, I jumped on the plane. It was done in one day.
Now, with the help of 4 designers, she's trying to restore the more than 100-year-old label to its former glory. British-Turkish designer Hüseyin Çalayan joined Vionnet in 2014.
I wouldn't work for any brand. I think because the brand is a heritage brand that's influenced so many people. Every fashion student, studies Vionnet. So I think it's a bit of an honorary project, to be honest.
Both an honor and a challenge.
It's not really a revival because I think there's so many revival stories. I think it's more like looking at the language of the brand and seeing how it could exist today. And I think also looking at how women live today and making it kind of timeless and relevant now.
Born in 1876, Madeleine Vionnet became famous for her elegant designs and perfect cuts. Now the team of designers want to continue that tradition. Vionnet in 2015 is all about long, flowing dresses in Greek-Roman style, matched with modern sandals.
We've definitely got a lot of Grecian influence. That was one of the main, let's say, influences of Madeleine Vionnet. So I think there is a nymph, there is a Greek goddess feel.
In the early 20th century, Madeleine Vionnet was famous for her draped fabrics and for doing away with corsets. People could move freely in her designs. That was revolutionary and almost a feminist act. I think the current designs take the same liberating direction. It is less about showing a woman's body than being able to move freely.
Vionnet isn't the only historic fashion label presenting their collection at Paris Fashion Week. Fashion house Courrèges is making a comeback with 2 young designers as well. And the new collection of Rocha marks the label's 80th birthday, while label Guy Laroche lives on 26 years after the death of its founder.
When I look back at his archives, I take certain pieces and certain details, but it's more about the spirit of what's happening now. To directly reference something, I think, would be the wrong way to approach it, because he wouldn't be referencing himself now. He would be moving on.
Why is the fashion industry increasingly focusing on old names? There are many reasons.
An existing brand already has a name. When you start off without a well-known name, you have a long road ahead of you. Today it's very hard. There are just too many designers and the market is saturated.
The advantage is you can make a global brand and buy for 20 million and then in 10 years it's worth $500 million. That's a big advantage.
Still, buying a fashion house can be a risky investment.
The only fashion houses that can be revived successfully are those where there's still something to say. And I think Vionnet has that. You know, there are qualities there of sort of elegance, of an attitude to women that's actually very modern.
Goga Ashkenazi has big plans for Vionnet.
We're opening the store in Paris tomorrow. We're opening the store in New York by the end of the year. In Tokyo, looking in London, we're opening in stores. We're doing probably perfume, sunglasses, then baby line, second line. You ask me, there's a lot.
Now people just have to start buying pieces from the new collection. Then Vionnet is sure to be a fashion brand with a glorious past and future.
Well, smartphones have not only changed our behavior considerably, if you think of what everybody does in the subway in the mornings, but they've also had quite an influence on many art forms, particularly on photography. Well, thanks to a variety of apps and, of course, ever better quality of smartphone cameras, just about anyone can become a photographer. And we met three young men whose unique take on architecture has garnered them worldwide attention.
These perfectly composed architectural images are not the work of professionals. They were taken by amateurs on their smartphones and have been edited using an app. One of the photographers is Sebastian Weiss. A designer by profession, he started dabbling in photography 16 years ago. In 2011, he downloaded the photo-sharing app Instagram and started posting his pics. He's now known internationally for his work.
When I started out 4 years ago, I never thought I would reach this stage. I was really just experimenting, seeing what I could do. But it really pleases me to see that people like my work and to read their feedback. It's just a brilliant feeling.
Sometimes Weiss stumbles upon the buildings he shoots. On other days, he knows exactly where he wants to train his lens. Today, he's focusing on the St. Canisius Church in Berlin's Charlottenburg district. Given the restrictive size of the smartphone format, he stays clear of overly ornate buildings. But that's not the only criterion that influences his choice of motif.
The buildings that particularly appeal to me have different surface structures and materials. This church is a good example of the equal use of the kinds of materials. You have both wood and concrete. It doesn't matter to me if something was designed by a famous architect. I just need to feel a sense of fascination.
Characteristic of Instagram is the square Polaroid image format. And it has to be perfectly framed because Sebastian Weiss does very little retouching work. But he does sometimes use a special app that corrects lines. To finish off, he puts his images through Instagram's Brandon color filter and then uploads them to his feed.
I developed this way of working fairly early on, and it's a kind of brand on my feed. I think a consistent feed where attention to detail is evident stands a greater chance of prolonged success.
Sebastian Weiss studied design at the Berlin University of the Arts. He can be found on Instagram under the name LeBlanc, where he now has more than 145,000 followers. In his photo feed, he takes great care to ensure a mix of symmetrical images, organic forms, and geometric objects. Another successful Instagram photographer is Dirk Bakker, whose work appears under his alias Mackenzo. The Dutch graphic designer has almost 330,000 followers, and 3 years ago he teamed up with 4 other Instagram users to set up a company dedicated to mobile photography. The images of Spaniard Emilio Oti, a professional physicist known as Otia, are regularly featured in magazines. The architectural network Archelovers rates him among the top 15 architecture photographers on Instagram.
People need to express themselves in one way or another, and Instagram gives them the chance to do that in images in terms of what they see.
Sebastian Weiss also enjoys photographic success beyond the bounds of Instagram. He works as a photo columnist for the high-profile magazine Architectural Digest Germany. And his work is represented by a gallery in Los Angeles.
Instagram has changed my life. I never expected to get requests from different magazines, or to have professional architecture photographers asking me for tips, or to have architecture students asking if they can intern with me. It's really incredible, and it makes me happy.
Bemerkenswert und macht mich irgendwie auch, erfreut mich.
At the end of last year, Sebastian Weiss began to exhibit his Instagram images in the real world as well as in the virtual one. And in the coming years, he plans to build on his current success.
Well, now we're headed north of 60 degrees latitude to the Icelandic capital Reykjavik, which is particularly special because of the literally bubbling ground that lies around and beneath it. And so we're going to do a tour of the Golden Triangle, that's also known as the Golden Circle tourist route, which takes in the capital and its dramatic surroundings, all in the space of a day, if you wish.
Reykjavik, the world's northernmost capital. It's located on the volcanic island of Iceland in the middle of the North Atlantic. At the old harbor, fishing boats are moored beside whale-watching boats. Every morning they head out to sea. The Harpa Concert Hall right on the waterfront opened in 2011. Its glass facade, designed by artist Ólafur Eliasson, has made it the city's new landmark. Antonía Bergþórsdóttir discovers new motifs every time she visits.
It's such a good architecture. It's very photogenic. It's special. Nothing in Reykjavik is like this. I haven't seen anything like this actually anywhere in the world.
The concert hall was long a bone of contention here. Many Icelanders were unhappy that it took 4 years and cost 160 million euros to construct.
There have been a couple of fails with this building, and it costs taxpayers here in Iceland a lot of money. So it is a hate-love relationship.
From the Harpa, it's just a short walk to another of Reykjavik's landmark buildings, the Hallgrímskirkja. Built in 1986, it's Iceland's largest church and sits on a hill overlooking the Old Town.
It is a token for Reykjavik. It's like our Eiffel Tower, in a sense. I really like the sound of this one. Inside, it's if there's a choir singing it, you can really feel the music.
We're in luck. The organist is rehearsing for the next church service, and he lets us listen in. An elevator takes us up the Hallgrímskirkja's 73-meter-high tower. From here, you can see over the entire city and Faxaflói Bay. The wilderness starts right outside the city limits. Iceland is one of the most sparsely populated countries in Europe. At Thingvellir National Park, visitors can witness the results of continental drift for themselves. The two tectonic plates here move apart 2 centimeters each year.
What we see here is the beginning of the rift between the continents. Or on this side we can see the end of the North American continental plate, and then if you look over the valley you can actually see the beginning of the Eurasian plate.
50 kilometers away, visitors can witness another force of nature, Strokkur, one of the world's most reliable fountain geysers. It erupts every few minutes, spewing water up to 40 meters into the air.
The energy is amazing here.
It's very impressive. It made me jump. It was so impressive.
Next to the Strokkur lies the geyser, after which the world's other spouting hot springs were named. Now it erupts just a few times a year. Nearby is Iceland's famous waterfall, the Gullfoss, or Golden Falls. In 2 stages, water plunges more than 30 meters down into a canyon. Together with the geyser and Thingvellir, the falls make up what's called the Golden Triangle. It takes about an hour to get back to Reykjavik. Here too, the earth is seething under the surface. In the heart of the city, steam pours out of the ground. We meet up with Antonía again. She wants to show us her favorite place. Reykjavik's Old Town with its colorful fishermen's huts.
This street is one of the oldest streets in Reykjavik, and it has a lot of history, and I know there are a lot of ghost stories around it.
Due to its proximity to the harbor, legend has it that the souls of dead sailors haunt the old town. Some say elves and trolls occasionally find their way here too. With evening approaching, Antonía has to go. We visit a restaurant by the harbor called the Zeegraven, or Sea Baron. It's said to serve up the world's best lobster soup. In close quarters, fishermen and tourists enjoy soup and barbecued seafood kebabs. A city on the water, nestling in a volcanic landscape, Reykjavik has plenty to keep visitors busy, day or night.
And finally, it's a common wish of many a foreign tourist to make it at least once in their lifetime to Germany's famous Oktoberfest, to drink in that one-of-a-kind atmosphere and the beer, of course, that attracts upwards of 6 million visitors every year. And you only get the real experience if you dress the part. That's with a dirndl for the girls and a lederhosen for the boys. And so let's have a look at this year's highlights.
Beer, pretzels and lederhosen. Oktoberfest is serving up all the ingredients that have made it the world's biggest traditional festival. Guests come from all around the world.
We're from Holland, and we're having lots of fun.
I'm from New Jersey, United States of America.
We're from Switzerland.
I'm from South Africa.
Taiwan. America!
Brigitte Feitz comes from Germany and knows the Oktoberfest like few others. She's written 2 books about the festival and was the first to publish a psychological study about the event. For several years, she's conducted tours here too.
The special thing about Oktoberfest is that it combines tradition with modern rides. And it draws people from around the globe, and it's world famous.
People usually equate the Oktoberfest with beer, but the event has far more to offer than that. For instance, you can eat like a king. In recent years, there's been a greater emphasis on quality, and now there's more on the menu than traditional hearty Bavarian cuisine.
There are vegetarian options, as more and more people are vegetarians or vegans. You can get a vegetarian dish in every beer tent. I've seen tofu schnitzel and seitan goulash. They're catering to the trend toward eating less meat.
Outside the beer tents, over 30 stands at the Oktoberfest also offer vegetarian or vegan dishes, and they're getting a warm reception.
People want to eat healthier, so they're willing to try a vegan sausage.
Rides are also a big part of the Oktoberfest. Each year, operators try to win over customers with new attractions. But some old rides have great staying power.
The Crinoline is one of the most spectacular old rides at Oktoberfest. It's 89 years old, almost 90, and it's the only carousel with a live brass band.
But there are also new attractions this year, like the Conga, which swings people up to 45 meters above the ground. Or the Daemonium, a haunted house in which riders zoom from one scary scene to the next. Still, visitors are mainly interested in the 14 big beer tents.
The first big beer tent with a bandstand and people singing along with the brass band dates back to 1898.
Inside the tents, the mood is jovial. This year, almost 750,000 litres of beer was sold in the first week of Oktoberfest, almost as much as last year. A litre of beer costs upwards of 10 euros. The steins, or mugs, are handed out by one of 250 servers. The brass band provides just the right atmosphere. In the Hofbräu tent, there's Alois Altmann and his 24 musicians.
The old popular songs are hauled out again and a few rock and pop numbers added.
Last year's big hit is being played a lot in Munich. Oktoberfest combines the modern and the traditional.
Well, that's got me craving a Weisswurst and a beer. Well, that's all for this edition of our highlights. Glad you could join us, and until we meet again, take good care. All the best from Berlin. Tschüss and bye-bye.